Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone and you totally missed some red flags and you look back and you're like, man, why didn't I pay attention? So that's why in today's video we're gonna talk about red and green flags in a relationship. Thank you for watching. So babe, what are some like green and red flags that you would say in a relationship?
So let's start with a scenario, and you guys tell me whether it's a green or red flag. Okay, say in a relationship, and this is something that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. I'm starting off hot, guys.
You're gonna okay, let's go.
Say you're in a relationship, right? Or marriage. It could be a relationship or marriage, you're dating, whatever. It all applies there, right? And it could be both ways. So say you guys are walking in a mall, right? And I'm gonna use it what the normal situation would be. You're walking in a mall and you're with your wife or your girlfriend, and a noticeably beautiful woman walks by and makes eye contact. You make eye contact with her because you evidently see her coming, and as she passes, your girlfriend, your wife, she all of a sudden she puts on an attitude, and you're like, what happened? What did I do wrong? So is that a red flag or is that a green flag? You guys tell me.
I think it's contingent upon if this happens all the time. And would it be a red flag for her or for him?
So
because I think that scenario, right? If she is constantly upset, where she's showing signs of jealousy, where he feels like he needs to walk around with a bandage in his eyes, I would say that's a big red flag. There is potential lack of boundaries, there's potential lack of trust. That big red flag in my book. Now, I would say that the red flag can go both ways. Is this a bad habit that the guy has? And then I would say that's another red flag on his end. Maybe he just doesn't have that respect for his wife or partner, girlfriend, whoever he's with.
Okay, but let's talk about why that's a red flag. I think that's important. That also stems from oftentimes being hurt in other relationships. Sometimes people, they jump from one relationship to the other, right? And they don't heal from, say, they got cheated on by, their past boyfriend, or their past boyfriend was a player, and they bring that into that perspective into a new relationship. And so anything that happens triggers them. Like if their boyfriend looks at another chick that's walking by, they think, oh, he's checking her out automatically. And that's unhealthy.
No, I would have to analyze the situation and know like where this is stemming from. But I think it's fair to say it's a red flag. All right. So the next one is going to be, this person claims to be very nice and is very cordial with everyone but disrespects his mom. Is this a red or is it a green flag?
Well, I think disrespect means...
Yeah, there's some people that are very nice and cordial to everyone else, but then they're so disrespectful to their parents. I think it's different from not having a good relationship, where you generally, love your parent and you want to have a good relationship with them. But then when you're disrespecting your parents, but you're very kind to everyone else, I think that's a huge red flag. Ladies, if he's disrespectful to his own mother, question how he may respect or disrespect you in the future. And that goes both ways for the female and the male. So that's another red flag in a relationship. Vice versa to that. If you're with someone who's like very family oriented, it's a green flag. Someone who's very loving and good to their parents and to their elders, that is a very green flag to look at in someone. And that can literally outweigh some of the negative in someone that you may be considering to be with, or that you like but not sure. Really pay attention to those green flags, because sometimes we're liking the wrong people and we bypass the green flags and also bypass the red flags because we like them so much, we want to like them. And many times we could be in love with the idea of being with them and ignore those red flags when someone else is showing you green flags. So that's a little pep talk with me. Okay, so what's next, babe?
All right, here's another one. In the context of relationships.
Okay.
Say one partner shuts down and the other person pursues the other person and tries to talk about it or resolve the conflict, but they're very adamant about dealing with the issue right then and there. Sometimes it can come off as, a little pushy. Sometimes it can come off as, like overbearing. And so, in your perspective, a person that tries to conflict resolve right away, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
How are they trying to go about it?
Like that, just right away. They're trying to do it like, let's talk about it. Let's deal with this now. Let's talk about this right now.
We've spoke about this before. This can seem like a really big green flag. However, though your approach can really make something positive negative, knowing what works for different people. You need to know your partner and know that some people need some time to cool off before trying to go into problem solving. Some people may need to go straight into problem solving because they don't want to be mad the rest of the day. And some people are like, yo, don't talk to me right now because I'm so heated, I'm so upset that if we talk, I'm gonna make a mistake. I'm gonna say things I don't mean, or I can't ration or think correctly in my mind. So I think it's really about knowing your partner. But the idea that you already are considering and thinking like, hey, let's fix this, let's work it out. I don't wanna be dwelling on this for like 24 hours. I would say this is a big green flag. Okay, so wave those green flags in the air. Wave those green flags in the air. Hey. So what's next? Oh, it's my turn. Sorry. Okay, guys. So the next one is a person who used to be unfaithful and cheat in the previous relationships. And they were very open with you in the beginning to tell you, yes, I have cheated in the past. Yes, I have been unfaithful. However, I have turned back from my evil ways. And, well, I don't want to be that person anymore. I'm going to try to, be faithful because I want to be in a serious relationship with. Would you see their past as a green or red flag? Or would you go with what they're telling you about their current? This is a tricky one because some people just keep and continue to have bad habits and other people genuinely change. Would you see it as a red flag because of their bad habits in the past? Or would you see it as a green flag because now you have a guarantee, a verbal guarantee, that they don't want to cheat anymore and they want to be faithful to you? Is this a good thing or is this negative? It's tricky. What do you think, babe?
So, this is one that it's not black and white. I think that it's gonna, like, if it was in perspective, it would be a green flag back here. And it's a big green flag because
it's a big green flag. We want to believe in people.
Because,
but I'll be like, keep this in mind. Sorry, babe. I'm so passionate about this.
It's a big green flag because that person is being honest and he's trying to change. Yes. And he's trying to give you perspective, and it's great because his honesty is showing that he's being vulnerable with. It's a tiny little red flag in the back of your mind because you see that this person had the tendency to do this act, which is not cool because people don't want to be labeled by their past, but it is something not to label that person with, but to just be aware. And that's probably the hardest thing to say because a lot of people don't open up because they don't want to be labeled in your mind as a liar or a cheater or whatever they did in the past. And that's why a lot of people keep those things silent. But that's why a lot of people keep those things silent. But I don't know, it's a mixed bag. I think I'm all for honesty. But at the same time, I think people, especially if you're going to enter in a relationship with somebody, they have a right to know.
Right. They have a right to know. And I believe that God redeems all people. But some people just continue having that bad habit. And it's something that they've made part of their lifestyle. How do you know to trust someone that you're just talking to? I don't know. This is hard. I think because, well, you want to trust people, right? You want to have good faith in. And I do believe that some people change. Like, God redeems people. And maybe this person is like, look, I realize how childish I was and I want to do better. But then it's like, are you going to cheat on me? You know what I mean? Like, or should I trust you because now you're being vocal and honest about it? Comment below. Do you think this is a red flag? Would you see this out as an automatic red flag and be like, I got to double think about our relationship? Or are you going to see this as a red flag because they're being transparent, honest, and open and they want to do better? So
all right. A major red flag that you should be watching out for is in the aspect of communication. If you find that when you're trying to communicate to your significant other and they tend to cut you off or overpower what you say with what they say, it shows, one, that they don't care about what you're saying, that they don't give it as much importance. Two, it shows that they may have a lot of triggers when they talk or with communicating or talking in general. And that's something that you definitely should work out, because that is one of those things in a relationship that tend to snowball and spiral out of control. That communication, you got to get it down. And it's important that you be able to communicate, because when you have issues, you're going to need a place, a safe space within your partner to talk about these things and resolve it. And that's a big
red flag. So let's do a speed round. You ready, babe?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. We spoke a lot about, I think, a lot of red flags. Let's talk about some really good relationship green flags. So what's a relationship green flag? When someone shows emotional support, that is a green flag. But how about this? A person who respects your boundaries and is mindful of how you feel about them. That is a green flag. A person who values your dreams and your vision and that takes intentional actions to show you support, and not just say that they support your dreams, but that they want to actively support you. That is a green flag.
That's two for one. Okay, so, all right, if you and your spouse or you and your significant other are around other people and they don't acknowledge that you're standing there or present in that conversation, that is a
red flag. Feeling dismissed. Oof. Feeling pushed aside and ignored. That is not cool. Another thing is, if you have a conversation with your significant other and you see a pattern that they get to let it all out and just vomit on you, word vomit on you, and the moment you speak they shut you up or they don't allow you to express yourself because they just made their point, that is a red flag.
Okay, so if your significant other externalizes their aggression physically one too many times,
red flag. These are some things that you want to discuss with your significant other. You know, try to have an open conversation, hear each other out, find solutions for each other, and try to work that out. If not, you know, that's something to consider in somebody.
Here we go. So if they refuse to acknowledge wrong and be accountable,
red flag. Okay. And guys, by the way, if you associate to any of these, please don't be offended. Just, you know,
they may seem familiar.
They may seem familiar, but
it's just so that you work
don't
on
be
yourself.
offended. Yeah, it's just it's gonna help you with your relationship, but also you with you. You see, this person goes to church, follows Jesus, and is trying to, you know, be a follower of Jesus Christ. That is a green flag. This person's a Christian. That's a green flag. The person is a person of faith and spreads hope and is very positive and uplifting. That is a green flag. I don't know why some people say that as a red flag. They think this person's just too happy, too positive, too sweet, too nice, and they're like, red flag, what are they hiding? It's a good thing. Chill. Not everyone's coming after you. Not, you know? But do we all have green and red flags? I think so. No one's perfect, you know? We all have something to work on. But it is good to see the transparency in somebody. Absolutely. So, go next.
If they keep putting off things for tomorrow, what they can do for today.
Red flag. Absolute red flag. Like my mom taught me that. She would say, don't leave for tomorrow what you can do today. You know, of course, prioritize and don't be too hard on yourself, but red flag.
Red flag.
Do another.
Another one, okay. So, if they can hold a better conversation with a friend than with their spouse.
Red flag, but I think that's a red flag on both of their ends.
It's a red flag all the way around.
It's not, you need to understand that some red flags or green flags can go both ways. You can say, oh, well, how can you spend hours talking to a friend, but you can't even spend 2 minutes, 5 minutes with your significant other? It may be that their significant other has brushed them off enough that they feel a friend hears them more. So you really need to know like what truly is a red flag. Just because this person could flow better with a friend doesn't necessarily mean that there's a negative connotation or a negative intent behind it. some people are just easier to talk to. You
Well,
see?
I'm saying that it's a red flag. It's saying that there's something wrong.
Yeah, it may not necessarily mean, a red flag may not necessarily mean that there's something wrong with one individual, but it could mean that there's something within our relationship that we need to work on mutually. Cool. A person who is very good with their finances and tithes, that is a red flag. A person that's gonna tell you things that are wrong.
You called the green flag red flag.
It was green. It was green. Tithing is good. Personal finance is good. But you know what's the flip side of the being good with your finances that's not good? Being stingy does not mean you manage your finances well. That is a red flag. If your person is stingy and expects you to take care of everything on your own, that is a red flag. What are we doing?
All right, since we're getting spiritual, here's one. If they cover their faults with a hallelujah,
Come on.
a lot of people think that they can worship away their flaws. That's
Yeah, you can worship away a lot of things, but when it comes to our flaws or things that we should intentionally work on,
personal development.
personal development is being intentional. It's something that you should thrive for daily. It's not something that you could just, oh, I'm in church, I'm perfect now, I'm praising my way away. No, we have to be, accountable for our actions and our character and, improve ourselves. Growth.
Yep.
Any green flag? I feel like we're missing a lot of flags, like green and red flags. Comment green and red flags below. What is a red flag that we may have missed? And what are some green flags? Of course, green flags are going to be something like the person is respectful, the person is responsible, they're trustworthy. These are all
If the person
green flags, and you know that. But it's also good to know what these red flags is, because the red flags are sneaky. Green flags are not sneaky. Red flags tend to hide. Green flags don't tend to hide. That's why we kind of talk more or share more of the red flags, because these should be things that you look out for. And the green flags, sometimes they're just so pretty, like butterflies and marshmallows in the sky and cotton candy, and it just sticks out so nicely.
But here's one. So here's a thing that a lot of people don't realize, or in relationships. This caused so much problem. There are some green flags that when present in the moment, the other person misinterprets that as a red flag. Here's a situation. Here's one. Say that you and your significant other are having an argument or a heated discussion, right? And you see that it's going south, and you perceive that something is quite off, and that person steps away to pray. That is actually a green flag, because that person can perceive.
Why would it be red?
I said a green flag.
Yeah, but why would it be perceived negative?
It would be perceived negatively because the person thinks that the person is disengaging from the conversation, or they're trying to run away when they're actually trying to deal with it, because they see that dealing with it in the physical, dealing with it in the flesh is not going to get anywhere, because this is a spiritual problem. And we fall into that trap a lot of times, and we'll just keep going tit for tat, and going in circles and just throwing more gasoline on the fire, when the correct action to do is to pray and tackle it in the spirit, because what is occurring there is spiritual, not physical.
Yes. I second that. I agree. And it's not that you're going to just cut off the person, because I feel some people may see that negative because of how the other person goes about it. You can't be in an argument or trying to problem solve with someone and suddenly just, oh no, stop, I'm going to start praying, and turn your back. That's so religious and unrealistic. We are Christian, but we're not religious. You know what I mean? You got to be practical. You can't brush off, go and pray, and be disrespectful while trying to be spiritual. That's not going to flow. That's not going to work, and it's not biblical. You see, you have to do it with wisdom, and I see what you're saying, Shaheen, that some people, and that's a good point, may see that as a negative, but it really depends on how you approach it. And that's where wisdom and discernment is really needed. So, for example, if Shaheen and I are in a conversation, heated discussion, and he's just like, you know what? no, boom, and he walks away, he starts praying, I'm gonna be like, you're whack. Like, you just were disrespectful, cut me off, walked away from a conversation to pray. So you're trying to do something good and spiritual and so holy, but you did it in a rude way. Rather than saying, hey, you know what? This isn't really like working right now. Like, we're both in a heated discussion, the conversation is going south, we're both really upset, can we just like pause and talk about it and pray together? That right there makes sense. And then we'll pray as a couple that prays together stays together, but a couple who also knows how to hear each other out and have effective communication, and a couple that's intentional to work through things together, not against each other, together, also stays together. And that's where a lot of people go wrong, because they don't want to hear the other person. And we can't just brush people off and say, oh no, I'm just done, I'm gonna pray because you're done, because you don't listen. No, that's not how it works. Let's not confuse something that's meant to be good for evil and evil for good. What's evil is evil and what's good is good. That was a good, very green flags.
It was.
So we hope you enjoyed our red and green flags. Tag along for part 2.
That's right. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you know when I post another video. Thank you guys for watching. Take care and till the next one.